Hello. We have some more news about Virtual Flight Online. It is open for everybody to join. So head to va.virtualflight.online and you can join it. And if you're wondering what Virtual Flight Online is, we have evolved our website to add a virtual airline to the facilities available. So what is a virtual airline? It's a place you can join and you can fly flights in Flight Simulator or X-Plane or P3D, and you can progress through a virtual career. So you start off in trainers and you go and fly for a few hours in Cessnas and things like that, and then you can progress on to general aviation airplanes, turboprops, business jets, and then finally the heavies, and you can go off doing the international routes. And the nice thing about the virtual airline is it tracks your flights, so you can see exactly what's going on. So if we go and have a look, some of the new members, we only opened 2 days ago and we've already got 60 members. It's going a little bit crazy and it's been a bit of a struggle to get everything in place. To find out everything about the virtual airline, you can go to codex.virtualflight.online, and we've got lots and lots of information on here now about how to get started with installing the flight tracking software called ACARS. You can see it's more information here about that. So if we go and open that page and have a look, we've got the ACARS software here. So there's a couple of prerequisites, but if you follow the instructions, it's fairly straightforward to install and then straightforward to dispatch flights. So what do I mean by dispatching flights? So if I wanted to go and do a flight, for example, while I'm logged into the virtual airline, I can go and click on the operations center, go to tours and events, for example. There's also scheduled flights as well. I can go to tours and events. It shows me the tours and events. So an event or a tour is basically something that contains legs that you can fly. So if I go to the UK tour, so that's the flight school, going wrong already. If I go to the British Isles tour, you can see I've already done the first 3 legs. It gives you a description here of the tour and shows you your progress, and you can then go and look at the next leg that you want to fly. So here's the next leg, and you can zoom in on the map and have a look at it. So it's from EGHC to EGGD, and you can dispatch it. So then it says we can go and look on the dispatch center for a briefing on the flight. So it gives us the basic information. And it says here Land's End to Bristol. Okay, and it gives you the winds via windy.com. Oops, I'm using the wrong button there to zoom in. So you get an idea of where you're flying, of what the winds are, and from that you can have a full briefing. So it's almost like a small version of an operational flight plan. Where it gets really clever is it's got integration with SimBrief as well. So we can click on SimBrief and we could fill this in, and it will automatically go and talk to SimBrief and pull back the full operational flight plan to us, which is more useful really for the big jets. But you can do it with smaller aircraft as well, but you do get some limitations on the number of aeroplanes SimBrief handles. Anyway, getting away from the story, we went and did dispatch the flight, so we can see there's our dispatch plan. So we can minimize that now. All we need to know is we're going from EGHC to EGGD. So going back into Microsoft Flight Simulator, we need to run a small program called ACARS that I talked about earlier. So I'll go and run it. So it's just launching. We log in, and it's immediately got our flight on it. So we can put in an alternate. I'm just going to say where we're going anyway. Whoops, EGGD. Altitude we're going to be flying at will be 2,500 feet. Passengers, none. Cargo, none. And start the flight. It says, have you loaded the required fuel? Yes, I have. Please note it wants us above 500 feet along the route. And that's it. We can just minimize the ACARS software. It's worth having a look through it anyway. While you're flying, it's got internet radio built in, so we could start playing the radio. I'm not going to do it because it will cause a copyright strike. It's got a flight log, so you can see what's happening to your aeroplane or what you have done along the way. You can also see a radar plot of where other people using the same system are around the world. It's quite interesting. If you go and click on one of those aeroplanes, it will show you their flight plan and where they are along the flight plan. It's very clever. And then there's messaging, so you can message anybody that's online at the moment, and it's just like a discussion board. So if you're doing a long haul flight, it's a nice way of passing time and making a few new friends maybe. You can get weather reports. So if we put in the weather for EGHD right now, also EGGD, for example, we can get the meta. So you can see, like, it's automatically fetched the weather for our departure and arrival airfields. So then we can go and look in the logbook, so we can see any flights we've done in the past, and we can see any news across the industry. But to be honest, once you have started your flight, you can just minimize this, and then it's down to us to go and start our flight. So I'll just get this flight started in the 208 here. This is the analog 208, and just to see what the logbook is saying about what we're doing. Okay, so one thing that's worth pointing out is we will be being scored on the flight on how correctly we operate the aeroplane. So it does kind of make you very mindful of procedures. So first thing we're going to do in an aeroplane is turn the fuel on. Then we turn the batteries on. As soon as we have the batteries on, we turn on the navigation lights, because that tells anybody around us on the ground that we're in the aircraft getting ready. The next thing we will do is get ready to start the engine. So we'll put the fuel boost on. We will push the mixture to rich, push the RPM speed to full. Now we need to turn the beacon light on to warn anybody around us we're about to start the engine. So then we can hit the starter and the engine will start. So I'm going to be a bit naughty here. We'll see if the ACARS picks it up. I'm going to come off the parking brake and get us pushed back. I guess, to be honest, I should stop the motor, shouldn't I? But we'll see. We'll see if the ACARS picks this up, that I've done pushback after engine start. If we go and have a look in ACARS and look in the flight log, you can see things going on. You have successfully logged in, flaps 1, flaps up, starting engines. So if I put flaps to flaps 1, it will update in a moment with it. So I come off the parking brake, so this guy should hopefully... The pushback in Flight Simulator leaves quite a lot to be desired, doesn't it? Yeah, here we go. So obviously the pushback should have been before the engine start. So while we're being pushed back, that's probably all we need in terms of pushback. So we put the parking brake back on. We need the lights on now. We need the strobe doesn't go on until the runway. We'll turn the seatbelt sign on for the passengers. Not that you have many passengers in a caravan. Okay, so let's go and taxi out. Hopefully avoid all the people that are stood around on the tarmac wasting everybody's time. So you will be judged on... Oh, there's a plane in the wrong position there. You will be judged on taxi speed, so you need to be careful. You will be judged on lights being on underneath particular altitudes. That more applies to the heavies and GA planes, but it's easy enough to comply with it just by leaving your landing lights on below 10,000 feet. Okay, so how much runway do we have left here? Oh, that's fine for this plane. I'm not sure what's going on there. Somebody must have custom scenery. Okay, so we're up. We can see we got a generator off, so I'm just going to go and reset the generator. The 208, the analog 208, is much more of a steady level aeroplane. So let's go and stick a flight plan in, and then we can use the autopilot. So set origin, we were at EGG. Was it EGHC? Sorry. So backspace, EGHC, enter. And EGG, where were we going? Let's pull up ACARS. EGGD. So set destination. EGGD. Enter. You can pull up this message and go and have a look at the map. And we are flying way away from the route, so we'll just turn around. You can see we're going to be going about 45 degrees-ish. But what we can do is go and turn on the CDI mode to GPS. What altitude are we at? Just coming through 2,000 feet. So if we go for 2,500 and then trim the plane before we engage autopilot, and then we arm the altitude, and we're good to go. We can then use the vertical speed to get to 2,500 in a timely manner. Okay, so we're off and flying on our route. Flaps are up, engines at cruise level, and yeah, we're good to go. So we might want to put the pitot heat on. There's a bit of cloud around. I don't think it's very cold today, but you never know. So let's have a look. You can see aircraft climbing on the flight log. So it's recording everything periodically about what we're doing. If we go and look on the radar, we'll actually be able to find ourselves. So if we go and have a look down here, I think we're probably this one. Yeah, that's me. My ID is VFL0100. So you can see basically where people are. But if we go and look back at the website, it gets even more interesting, because this is the Virtual Airline website. So we can see I'm also on the map here. That's flying the route. You can also see news for any of the new pilots that are coming in, so there's lots of information available to everybody. You can also see dispatched flights that are going on right now. So there's me, Jonathan. And you can see I'm doing flight TGB04, so I can go and click on that and open it up. And you can see the details of the flight. And just refresh that. You can see the last 10 flights that have been completed by people. You can see the top landings this week. There's a crazy one there. How you got away with 4 feet per minute is anyone's guess. Must have been pure luck. I mean, mind you, I did a 12 feet and I didn't intentionally do it. We've got the latest members that have come in, and like I said, people are flooding in. There's 64 members already this week. But if we go and have a look around, we've got tours and events that you can go and fly. So there's obviously some training events to get your hours up. There is a rank structure in play. So if we go and look at the best place to look for this is the codex, actually, because if we go and look in here at the fleet of aircraft, so if we go Operations Centre Fleet, so here's all the aeroplanes. We filled in details about all the aeroplanes, but it doesn't really make sense here to see what planes you can use at what rank. So if we go and look in the rank structure or the fleet pages, you can see here's the rank structure information. So you start out as a student pilot when you have 0 hours locked, and then you move on to private pilot. I'm just going to go and put this thing, this is circling at the moment, I'm just going to switch on nav mode on the autopilot, which I hadn't done. There we go. So yes, at 3 hours you get private pilot, so you open up all the GA aeroplanes. At 10 hours you get Class D First Officer, which gives you a lot of the turboprops. At 20 hours you get Captain at Class D. At 30 hours you get First Officer Class C, which gets you things like the business jets. Class B at 50 hours gets you the big jets, and finally at 70 hours you get the intercontinental heavies. So if we go and have a look at the fleet in here as well, we've broken it down in here as well to show you what planes you get at which hours. Yeah. So it's just a handy reference. This also gives you the ICAO codes for each aeroplane. But yeah, the whole idea though of Virtual Flight Online is to give everybody something to do when there's no group flights going on for live flights, for multiplayer. It's something you can just go and pick flights and tour the world. So to get it started as well, we've set up scheduled routes as well. So if you go into schedules, these are really for the business jets and the turboprops and the heavies. We set up 7 major airports on each continent, and we have I wrote software to work out all of the routes between all of the airports that make sense for the aircraft types. So you can go and look at any of these routes. So for example, and you can filter it all. So say you were saying, I'm going to be flying, for example, the CRJ7 today. You can come and look in here and you can see a route. And we can go and pick one, say, there's one in Australia here, look, right the way across Australia. 4-hour flight. So it's a very long flight, this one. But you can say, I'm going to be flying the CRJ7, and then you could dispatch it. And this is a really classic one where this doesn't have a flight plan. We can push it out to SimBrief and bring it back, and it will build the flight plan for us. And then we just push that into ACARS. You know, we start the flight and we're off to the races. So then you just got to program your aeroplane. So if you've got SimBrief integration in your aeroplane, it's absolutely child's play. This also does automatic pre-filing of flight plans into VATSIM. So if you use VATSIM and you fly using air traffic control, if that's the thing you're interested in, it can do all the hard work for you about filing your flight plan as well. So Virtual Flight Online. It's worth saying, whenever you complete an event or a tour, you also win awards. Yeah, so as well as going up the rank structure, you can win awards. So if you go and look in my profile, for example, you can see I've already won an award, the Flight School Award, which I got for completing the hours to get out of flight school. Okay, so you can see statistics on yourself, you can see logs. So it basically does everything you'd expect a virtual airline to do. It's free. You can fly it with Flight Sim, with X-Plane, with P3D. The ACARS client will work with all of them. So yes, come and join in the community. It's worth saying as well, I've not actually got it running, we've got a very good Discord community as well, where the pilots all hang out, ask questions and share their experiences with each other. So if you just have a quick look at this and go into the Virtual Flight Online section, you can see we've got sections for the community, for events, for invitations to go flying, for the airline, for VATSIM, for ATC. It's all very good. Okay, so you notice we also get automatic notifications in Discord of the landings and takeoffs that are happening on the flights in the airline, which is quite cool. You also get obviously conversations going on where people can ask questions and get them answered. Okay, so that's it, Virtual Flight Online. Hopefully that made sense to you, and I'll look forward to seeing you as a member. See you soon.